All right, here we go. We are going to make a mallet. So I'm going to hold this up so you can kind of get a rough idea of what I'm looking at. It's just a little sketch. I'm going to draw this out and you'll understand what it is that you're supposed to make. This is going to be done on the manual lathe, and then you are going to thread all of the holes manually with a hand tap. So we'll start with the handle. Even though this is round, we're doing it in 2D, so it'll be represented as a rectangle. And that should be 1 inch wide. And I think we said 10 inches. Oh, that seems a little long. Let's try 9. Yeah, that's good. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to fillet. I want to fillet the ends. So let's put a 0.25 fillet. There we go. And then we'll end up changing this piece here a little bit later. Now I'm going to make the head, and that's going to be 1.5 tall by 4 inches. There we go. So yeah, that seems ideal. That is not going to have any fillets on it. And then we're going to make the end caps, which are going to be machined out of UHMW or some kind of non-marring hard plastic. So we'll do those now. Same thing, that's going to be 1.5 tall. Let's call it 1 inch. Seems good. I need 2 of these, 1 for each side. So Control C. And before I get too far, I'm going to save this in case it decides to kerplunk on me. So you can save it the same way. Just make sure it's your last name there. It's trying. All right. I'm going to copy this. Now I just have an original one to work with. So let's go in and click this piece. It's 4 inches. You can kind of see the center here. And what I want to do is make a rectangle, and let's just call it 0.27 wide. All right, and we'll call it 1 inch tall. All right. Now there's the center. So I'm going to drop it there, and then I'm going to move it down just like that. Right. And what we're doing is we're kind of in X-ray mode. So I'm showing you how this is going to be machined. I'm going to do the line. And at about a 40-degree angle, 45, I'm going to make these threads. If you're wondering what that noise is, I have no earthly idea. All right, whoops. So I'll grab out here, Control C, Control V to copy those threads. Control V again. Just clean it up however you need to. It's just showing us some basic thread patterns. So now I can also take this whole part right here, Control C, Control V. I'll go up here, 90 degrees. Put that right there. Bloop. And then I'm going to hit Control C, Control V. Put this over here. And then we're going to go right here, Control C, Control V. And we're going to put this right here. So take this, Control C, Control V. And I'm actually going to, let's see. There we go. So let's just rebuild this. I'll hold Shift so that I keep it at 90 degrees. I'll go to virtual segment delete. There we go, good enough. I'm gonna move this one here. I'm trying to approximate a center. Control C, Control V. And so the rough of what we're looking at is 1.5 inch aluminum, 1 inch aluminum, 1.5 by 1 inch UHMW. We've drilled a hole, drilled a hole, drilled a hole, a hole, a hole, and a hole. And then we've manually threaded these. We'll insert a 1/4 inch bolt, which will connect these two pieces, a 1/4 inch bolt here and a 1/4 inch bolt here, which will connect those pieces. Ideally, not the way I would want to machine it, but I think this will be a little more practical for our setup. And so let's figure these dimensions out real quick. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to label this one and this one or this one, because we can assume that this is a mirror image, right? So if it doesn't say that, that's the assumption you're making. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'll put all of these at 48. So I'll click, I'm going to hold shift, click, 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 click. I'm only clicking on the numbers, and I'll go to 48. There you go. So a little bit confusing, right? So let's move some of these pieces kind of out of our way, and we can, whoops, don't do that. There we go. Hopefully that makes more sense to you. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to run a big end mill through this. So I'm trying to think about what that would look like. And I think if that is a half, let's see what a 1 inch, or sorry, yeah, 1 inch by 1 inch circle would look like. That is correct. We're going to put this right here. And then I'm going to have to kind of rebuild this. So I'm going to grab a little node right there and hold shift. Same thing here, hold shift. And then let's try this. We'll go to virtual segment delete and delete that. The other thing I want to do is I'll do a line from here on that quadrant. And I can even move this down. Whoops. Like that, and that should help. I'll go back to virtual segment delete, zoom in, take that off. I take that off and that off, that off. And so what that's going to allow that to do is if you were to look at this from a, I guess what you would call a front view, is that would be 1.5. So I'm just going to put that there. Then I'm going to make another circle that's 1 by 1, sorry. And I'm going to put that down here so that we can kind of see that's explaining to us that the material is round. I will take this one and I'll put it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this, put that up, and let's delete that. All right, I'm going to color this one a little darker. And then just to show some transition between this, I'm going to go a little lighter. Oh, and what happened is since I deleted that, it no longer has top right there when we use virtual segment delete to trim it. So I do that. And if you have a problem with it not showing color, come show me and I'll explain why it's not doing that. And then we're almost done. What I want to do now is explain the cutting process. So if this is 4 inches out of 1.5 inch solid round aluminum, I want you to cut it at 4.125 to 4.25. So 4 1/8 to 4 1/4. That's allowing you enough to face it to get it down to exactly 4 inches. This one, our dimensions change. So let's fix that real quick. And I'll tell you what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, copy it, paste it, and I'm gonna put it over here so that we can see kind of what we started with. And I'm actually gonna stretch it a little bit. And now let's do a dimension on it. Whoops, go from the center. So it says 9.33. And I swear if they could make any more noise, it'd be amazing. Okay, 9.06, that's close enough. Just remember 9 inches. We'll click on this. We'll change it to 48. And then what I want you to do, I'm gonna make a text box. And I'm gonna change it to probably 48. I'm gonna put my name. I want you to put your name. I want you to put the date. It's not January. Head. And if you run out of space, you can just kind of move this. Now, UHMW is a type of plastic. I think I have some, stands for ultra high molecular weight. If I don't, it's okay. We can make it out of the black plastic that we have laying everywhere, or we can even make the faces out of wood. So that will be fine. And the last thing I'm going to put is connection point, all thread, sorry, 0.25 inch all thread. Cut as needed. And then I think I made a little bit of a mistake here. So I'm going to go in and I forgot to dimension this. So I put 0.27 and that's actually incorrect. You can leave it as that, but I'm going to put a note right here. I try to put a note, a couple asterisks. So you're not going to drill those holes to a 1/4 inch. You're going to drill them under. So if you just Google the drill bit size for a 1/4 inch by, I think it's 18 threads per inch, the 1/4 inch tap, it'll tell you what size drill bit to use. So again, I'm telling you right now, don't drill these holes to a 1/4 inch or bigger. It's actually going to be under so that we have enough material to run the threads. Okay. Yours should pretty much look like this. Obviously, I didn't mean to do that, so let's just try this. And that should be enough for what we want to do. So that's going to give you the idea. I'm going to go back over this real quick though, and I'll review it. So you're going to cut this to 1.5 by 4 inches long, 4.25. You're going to face both ends. You're going to do it 9.25 by 1 inch diameter. You'll face it down on both sides to 9 inches total. This round over on the end, I'm going to show you a way that we could chuck up a router bit to get that perfect little, I can't even remember the word, fillet on the end. And we might chuck up a larger one and see if we can just get a perfect round end, a bull nose. We can do the same things on these, but this is 1 inch, whether we make it out of wood or whatever. If we're making it out of something that's round, I want you to cut it a little over so that we can face both sides. Once you have it faced, you can put a center drill. So center drill that, center drill that, center drill that, center drill that, center drill that. This one has to be done in the mill. That's the only way we can get it exact. Once you drill these to the appropriate size that we haven't determined, but it has a note down here. We can manually thread this hole, this hole, this hole, this hole, and this hole. Then we're going to take a very large end mill. We're going to set this handle up sideways in the mill, and we'll run the end mill right here to get that where hopefully it will fit. And I said it's 1 inch, but really it needs to be 1.5 inch to match the diameter of this. So imagine this needs to seat in there. We will do this hole manually on the mill, and then we'll tap it, and then we can figure out about how long we need for our pieces of all thread. So all thread is just, imagine a bolt, but with no head. And so we'll turn that in and epoxy it, and then assemble all the pieces together. So hopefully that kind of gives you a primer of what I'm expecting you to do. Go ahead and make this piece, save it with your name, make sure that it says your name up here, it says your name in here, etc. And that's it. All right, sorry about the noise, thanks.